Hello students, welcome to this session. So today we are seeing the 100 test released on this NT app. I've just solved it, and here's the analysis of this test. This was a, let's say, a celebration paper for you. It was very easy. I have regarded 25 questions as easy in this, which is perhaps the highest I have done I can remember, and 3 I have regarded tough, and out of 3, 1, 2 you won't feel like that tough, and 17 were medium. Question number 38, answer is given by them is horribly wrong. So for this paper, going by that standard formula of my 25 easy plus half of that, 25 plus 8, that is 33 questions. That means again you can directly means that is 132, 134 marks can be easily scorable. So 130 marks should be easily attainable. Now you will say, sir, yesterday you also said 130, but here the number of easy questions are more. There the medium were more. So here the probability of achieving that 130 would be more, I feel. So you should get at least 130 in this paper, and those who are very good should get 160 plus for sure in this paper. Such are the papers where you should crack it. And believe me, if such a paper comes in this NEET, the students who are really prepared, you will see them excelling very well in physics. So this year predicting about the scores won't be that easy, because I still can't figure out who are well prepared, who are not, and still I feel the question is still a question mark whether the exam will happen on 13 September or not. Let's see. So let's see this paper first. So let's begin this test number 100. If proton and alpha particle are accelerated by the same voltage V, potential V, then the ratio of their wavelengths will be, that means the de Broglie wavelength. So you know that lambda is h by p or h by mv, you write, and h by mv you can write as h by root 2 mk, and k can be written as root 2 mqv. So for same voltage, h is same, lambda is proportional to root of mq. So what I can say, lambda proton to lambda of alpha, this ratio would be m alpha q alpha upon mp into qp. So alpha mass is 4 times the protonic mass, charge is 2 times, so that comes out as root 8:1, or you can write it as 2 root 2:1. Go for option A. Next, two energy levels of an electron in an atom are separated by 2.3 eV. The frequency of radiation emitted when the electrons go from higher to lower level. So what would be the frequency? Frequency h nu would be difference, that is 2.3 eV. So frequency would be 2.3 eV. H I can write as 4.14 into 10 raised to the power minus 15 eV seconds. So it is 10 to the power 15 into 2.3 by 4.14 hertz, you can say. So it's approximately, if you will do, this comes out as it would be 0.55 point something into 10 to the power 14. That would be the most appropriate option. So directly you can go by option C. Looking at this particular data, this would be 5.6 if you make it out, or 0.56 exactly if I say that. Next, a man stands at one end of a boat which is stationary in water. Neglect water resistance. The man now moves to the other end of the boat and again becomes stationary. The CM of the man plus boat system will remain stationary with respect to water. In all cases, only when the man is stationary initially, finally only if the man moves without acceleration, only if the man and the boat have equal masses. You know there is no external force along horizontal. F external along horizontal is 0, so CM won't shift horizontally, so it won't shift in any case, whether it accelerates, whether it moves, or whether it finally comes to a halt, it will remain like that only. So CM won't shift. Next, 3 blocks capital M are kept on a frictionless floor as shown. The leftmost block is given a speed v towards the right. All the collisions between the blocks are perfectly inelastic. If loss in kinetic energy after all the collision is 5/6 of the initial kinetic energy, the ratio of m by m will be. So first of all, when they will collide, the velocity v1 I can directly write as, that is mv upon 2m, I can directly say v by 2. Now when this combined mass sticks to this, now what we can directly write, 2m into v1, that would be equal to m plus 2m into v final. You can directly write that mv also, because momentum remain conserved in everyone. So whatever it will come out that mv, no point in writing again. So mv is m plus 2m into v final. So v final you have as mv upon m plus 2m. Now the loss in kinetic energy is 5/6. That means the final kinetic energy, that is half m plus 2m into v final square, that is mv upon m plus 2m whole square, is equal to 1/6 of half mv square. That is what it wants to say. So what we get here, so half, if I do this, this comes out as m square v square upon m plus 2m is equal to 1 by 6 into 1 by 2 mv square. So v square goes, m and m goes, 2 and 2 goes, so 6m is equal to m plus 2m. So we can say m is equal to 4m, so m by m is equal to 4. Go for option D. Just what we have done, we have used the information and put it in the equation. Next, aircraft executes a horizontal loop of the radius 1 kilometer with a steady speed of 900 kmph. Find the ratio of its centripetal acceleration with acceleration due to gravity. So it is executing a horizontal loop, so acceleration you know is v square by r, centripetal 900 kmph. So I convert it into kmph into 5 by 18 whole square, radius is 1000. So what we get now, this is 18, this would be 50, 50 into 5, 250, 250, that is 625 into 100 I can do, and this is 1000. So what we get is 625 by 10, or you can say 62.5 meter per second square. So that is 6.25 times, and if you take at 9.8, it would be approximately 6.4 times. You can directly go for it. Ratio with G. A paramagnetic substance of susceptibility is placed in this magnetic field, then the intensity of magnetization will be, okay. So the intensity of magnetization, that is m, you write as that is equal to chi times h, or I, whatever you write, that is chi times h. So that would be 3 into 10 raised to power minus 4 into 3 into 10 to the power minus 4, that is 9 into 10 raised to power minus 8 ampere per meter. Go for option A in this case. Next one. For what value of R in the circuit as shown, current passing through 4 ohm resistance will be 0. So 4 ohm resistance will be 0, that means if I say this is 0, this is 6, no potential, so no current, that means this will remain 6 volt only. This will be 4 volt, this will be 10 volt. So now what we have here, what we can say, no current is flowing through it, so only the single loop is effective. That means the current I here and I here will be same. So here the current, you can make it out, the potential drop is 4, so 4 by 2, that is 2 ampere, that is you have got. So this 2 ampere also flows here, and you have a drop of 2 volt, that means this R is 1 ohm. You can directly do it by mental calculation, like you can say. Next one. When two resistances R1 and R2 are connected in series, they consume 12 watt power. When they are connected in parallel, they consume 50 watt power. What is the ratio? So what we say, in the series, the power consumed would be V square upon R series, which is R1 plus R2, that is 12 watt. In parallel, it becomes R1 R2 upon R1 plus R2, that is what you can write. So this value comes out as 50. So what we can do, we can divide both of them. So V square goes, what we will get now would be that this would be R1 plus R2 here. So what we will get, let me write it, R1 R2 upon R1 plus R2 divided by R1 plus R2, that will come out as 12 by 50, or you can write it as 6 by 25. Or what we can do, R1 R2 upon R1 plus R2 whole square is 6 by 25, that is what we are getting here. So what we do, we can write it as R1 square plus R2 square plus 2R1 R2 upon R1 R2, I have reversed it, is equal to 25 by 6. So if I divided it, what we can divide the complete thing by R1 square on both sides. So what you will get, 1 plus R2 by R1 whole square plus 2 R2 by R1 you will get, and here what you will get here is dividing by R1 square, so it would be again R2 by R1, that would be 25 by 6 here. So I can write here this R2 by R1 as x, if I write, so it would be 6 plus 6x square plus 12x is equal to 25x, 6x square minus 13x plus 6 is equal to 0. So this is 6x square minus 4x minus 9x plus 6 equal to 0. Take 2x as common, 3x minus 2, take minus 3 as common, 3x minus 2 equal to 0. So x is either 2 by 3 or 3 by 2, both values are coming, that means R1 by R2 is either 3 by 2 or 2 by 3. So as per this, option C will be the appropriate one you can do by doing this. Okay, so there might be some better methods also. I have done by this method. You can find it out if you can do it more smartly. Two balls with charges 5 and 10 are at a distance of 1 from each other. In order to reduce the distance between them to 0.5 meter, the ratio of the work, the amount of the work to be performed. So work done is U final minus U initial. So initial energy you can write it as K Q1 Q2 upon 1 meter. Final would be equal to K Q1 Q2 upon 0.5 meter, or you can say that is twice of U initial. So this would be come out as U initial. So if I calculate this value of U initial, K is 9 and 10 ki power 9, Q1 Q2 is 10 into 5, 15 to 10 raised to power minus 12 over 1. So 15 to 9 is 4, 15 to 10 raised to power minus 3, so that is 0.45. So we'll go for 0.45 joules. That is the answer here. Next one. The electric field intensity at all points in space is given by this. Okay, a square frame LMNO, okay, of side 1 meter is shown in figure. The point N lies in the XY plane. Okay, and the angle between the line ON and the x-axis is 60 degree, and the flux of electric field through the frame is going to be. So first of all, write the area vector for this first of all. So the area vector for this you can directly say would be perpendicular to this. So it would be perpendicular to this. That means if I say it will be perpendicular to Z, that would be, it would be in XY plane, and if I write it, it would be perpendicular, let's say like this. So if it is perpendicular to this, so what we can make it out, if this angle is theta, this angle would be equal to 90 minus theta, you can write. So this would be the area vector. So what I can write it is area vector, that is 1 meter square, and unit vector would be what I can write, cos of 90 minus theta I cap plus minus sine of 90 minus theta j cap, you can write like this. So it would be 1 meter square, what I can write as cos of 90 minus theta would be sine theta, so sine 60 degree I cap minus cos 60 degree j cap. So it is 1 meter square, cosine 60 is root 3 by 2 I cap minus 1 by 2 j cap, I can write. So the flux you write it as, because it is a uniform field flat surface E dot A. So if I do, and here better I should write magnitude only, because it is not a closed surface, so that you can have that plus minus thing. So if I do that E dot A, this is root 3, this would be root 3, so root 3 into root 3 by 2, that is 3 by 2. Let me put this as plus root 3 by 2, this is minus 1, this is minus half, that will become plus half, so it is 2. So this is 2 volt per meter, 2 volt meter, you can directly go for this flux value here. Next. Two identical wires A and B have the same length L and carry the same current I. Wire A is bent into a circle of radius R and wire B is bent to form a square of side A. If B1 and B2 are the value of magnetic induction at the center of the circle and the center of the square respectively, then the ratio of B1 by B2 is. So first you say this is bent into circle, so L is equal to 2 pi R. So R is equal to L by 2 pi. So the center field would be what we write, mu naught I by 2R. That is what with the expression we say. So mu naught I by 2R and R is L upon 2 pi. So it comes out as mu naught pi I by L. That is the first field that we are getting. Now for the square frame, this L would be equal to 4 times A, or A is equal to L by 4. And for the square frame, if I calculate the field at the center, it would be addition of these 4. So let's say write from 1 and multiply it by 4. So that would be 4 times. If I write due to this, this would be mu naught I upon 4 pi R. R, what do you have? R you have as A by 2, and it would be cos 45, so 1 by root 2 plus 1 by root 2, and 4 times we have done. So it is B2. So this B2 thing comes out as this 4 and 4 I can cancel up. So it is mu naught I upon pi A, 2 goes up, 1 by root 2 plus 1 by root 2, that is root 2. So that comes out as 2 root 2 goes up. So this A is what you have, L by 4. So if I write it as L by 4, it comes out as 8 root 2 mu naught I by pi L, I can write. So the ratio of B1 is to B2 if you will do. So all thing will cancel up, this will remain pi here, and it would be 8 root 2, and this is pi square. So it is pi square by 8 root 2, that is what I am getting. So go for option B here. Next one. In a series LCR circuit, resistance R is 10 ohms. Impedance is also 10 ohms. That means it is at resonance, that is 0 degree. You can directly say Z is equal to R. That's an easy one. Satellite moves around the Earth in a circular orbit of radius R, making 1 revolution per day. Second satellite moving in a circular orbit moves around the Earth once in 8 days. The radius of the orbit is. So it is 1 revolution per day. So the first one has a time period 24 hours. The second moves once in 8 days. So it will have a time period of 24 into 8 hours. So what we can say, we know T1 square upon T2 square would be equal to R1 upon R2 whole cube. That is what you can write. Okay. So what we have, so 24 upon 24 into 8 whole square is R1 over R2 whole cube. So you can directly make it, this is 1 by 64 is R1 by R2 whole cube. So what we get, R1 by R2 is 1 by 4. So R2 is 4 times R. You can directly go for option B in this case. Simple Kepler's law application, third law that you study. Next, two spheres of M and M are situated in air, gravitational forces F. If the space is filled with a liquid of specific gravity 3, remember here doesn't epsilon r, the dielectric constant. Gravitational force is independent of the medium, so still the force is going to remain F. It won't become F by 3 or 3F. So don't do this mistake. This is a very basic thing, that is the difference between Coulombic and the gravitational force given by Newton. Two solid spheres R1 R2 made of same material have similar surfaces. These are raised to the same temperature and then allowed to cool under identical conditions. The ratio of their initial rates of loss of heat will be, a rate of loss of heat that you write as H, you write it as sigma EA T to the power 4 minus Ts to the power 4. Now these factors are all same, so it will only depend on A. So H is proportional to A and A is proportional to R square. So you can directly say it is proportional to R1 square by R2 square. Directly you can write. Next, an ideal gas is found to obey an additional law, P square V or Vp square is constant. Gas has initial temperature T, volume V. When it expands to volume 2V, the temperature will now become. So what you have here, you have this P square V equal to constant, that is the law it follows. And we know PV is equal to nRT. So P square V is constant, or you can say P into PV is constant. And if I write P, this will be, P will become what I can write, nRT by nRT, sorry, PV equal to nRT. So P into nRT, but we need a relation between V and T. So don't go by this, write P instead. Write P instead as nRT by V into V square V is equal to constant. So what you get here, from here you get T square is proportional to V, that is what you will get. So T square is proportional to V, so if, or you can say V is proportional to T square. So V is doubling, so temperature will become root 2 times only, so that will become root 2T. You can directly go for it. Next one, a mole of an ideal diagas undergoes a transition A to B along a path AB as shown in figure. Okay, so the change in internal energy during the transition. So how we will do this, the change in internal energy delta U, you write it as NCV TB minus TA I can write, and because it is dia I can write CV as 5 by 2R. So it is 5 by 2 nRTB minus nRTA, and at any point for ideal gas nRT is PV. So this is PBVB minus PAVA. You must have done such a calculations in your practice definitely. So PBVB, this is 2 into 6, 12 into 10 to the power 3, taking the units into consideration. This is 5 into 4, that is 20 into 10 to the power 3. So it is 5 by 2 into, this would be negative sign, I take care, 8 into 10 to the power 3, that is 4, that is minus 20 kilojoule. That means the internal energy has decreased by 20 kilojoule in this complete process. Long wire carries a steady current. It is bent into a circle of 1 turn and the magnetic field is B. If it is bent into a turn of n turns, field at center become n square times. That is directly you can remember that B at center is proportional to n square and the magnetic moment is inverse to n. How you derive this? We can write B at center, the formula we use is mu naught I upon 2, let's say R in case of n turns. And what we have, n times, now let's write it small n also here so that no confusion arises. What we have the perimeter would be equal to small n into 2 pi Rn, that is equal to L. So this Rn is inverse to n. So this is proportional to n upon Rn and Rn is inverse to n, so that is proportional to n square. You should remember this thing. This is a very general thing asked in many examinations in India. Long solenoid 40 turns per centimeter carries a current 1 ampere. The magnetic energy stored per unit volume, that is the magnetic field energy density, you write it as B square by 2 mu naught, and B you write it as mu naught Ni. So that whole square upon 2 mu naught you write. So what it becomes mu naught n square I square by 2. Mu naught is 4 pi into 10 raised to power minus 7. N square, if you do n, is I can write it as 4000 per meter in a standard unit. So it is 4000, so it becomes 16 into 10 to the power 6, squaring it, and I square is 1. So this is what it becomes, 16 4 is 64, it will become 6.4 pi if you convert it. So this is option D in this particular situation. That is what you earn. And now you have to divide by 2. I forgot to divide by 2, so don't do this mistake. Answer is not 6.4, it is 3.2 pi. So be careful, don't be in a hurry, otherwise you will have to worry. Next, a particle starts its motion from rest under the action of a constant force. Distance moved in first 10 seconds is s1, that in the first 20 seconds is s2. Then, so in the first 10 seconds, because if force is constant, so acceleration is constant and initial speed is 0. So in first 10 seconds, the x1 would be equal to half a into 10 square. In first 20 seconds, this s2 would be half a into 20 square divided, you will directly get this ratio as 1:4. So s2 is 4 times of s1. Go for option B. Body is projected with an initial velocity of this, the horizontal range will be. So horizontal range directly you know is 2 ux uy by g. If you remember, what is ux? It is 8. What is uy? It is 6. It is 10. So 2 8s are 16, 16 6 are 96 by 10, that is 9.6 meter. Quite an easy one for you, basic formula putting. Next, consider a car moving along a straight horizontal road with a speed of 72 km/h. I can write it as 20 meter per second. If the coefficient of static friction is 0.5, the shortest distance in which the car can be stopped, you know stopping distance is v naught square, initial speed upon 2 mu kg. You directly derive using the third equation, because acceleration will be constant, equal to minus mu kg. So this is 20 square is 400, 2 mu k is 0.5 and g is 10. So this is 400 by 10, that is 40 meters for you. That will go for option B here. Minimum distance is 40 meters. Next one, spring balance attached to the ceiling of a lift. A man hangs his bag on the spring and the spring reads 49. When the lift is stationary, if the lift moves downward with an acceleration of 5, the reading of the spring balance will become. So what we can say, when it was stationary, that means that spring force in that case was equal to mg, that was 49 newtons. Now when the lift is accelerating downwards, so when the lift accelerates downwards, what we will have a pseudo force acting on it, that would be acting upwards, that would be ma, mg and plus f spring. So what you will have, f spring now would be equal to m, effectively it becomes g minus a, and acceleration is 5, that is effectively g by 2, so it becomes mg by 2. So mg by 2 becomes, that means 24.5 newton. If I take g as 10, if I take it as 9.8, it would be slightly different. So the options are far away, I can take 24, no worries. Binding energy per nucleon in deuteron helium are this. When 2 deuterium nuclei fuse to form a helium, the energy released, this is a very standard case, 2H1 plus 2H1 gives 4 helium. I think this we covered yesterday in some paper also. So the energy released would be, final binding energy would be 4 into 7 minus initial is 1.1 into 2 for 1, and there are 2 such nuclei. So taking 4 as common, it is 7 minus 1.1, 4 into 5.9, this comes out as 23.6 MeV. Go for option A in this case. Next, which one of the following statement is true for 14 carbon, 15 nitrogen, 16 oxygen? They have equal number of protons? Not at all. Equal number of electrons? Not at all. Equal number of neutrons? This is 8, this is 8, this is 8. Yes, so option C is, these are what you can say isotones. Next, the displacement of a particle in SHM is related to time t like this. The frequency of the motion, you can directly say this is omega, so omega is pi. So frequency is omega by 2 pi, that is 1 by 2 hertz. So it is 0.5 hertz, therefore it's a very easy one. I'm deleting it so you can check this, omega is pi if you find it difficult to read. Next, simple pendulum 4 meter long swings with an amplitude of 0.2. The acceleration at the ends of its path, you know acceleration at the end is equal to g sin theta max, because AC is 0, that is only 80 g sin theta max. So what would be theta max here? So we can directly write L into theta max was equal to this amplitude, which is 0.2. So theta max is 0.2 by 4 and that is very small, that is 1 by 20. So sin theta would be 20 also, 1 by 20, so it is g by 20. G by 20 means 0.5 meter per second square you can go for, because for small angle tan theta, sin theta, theta all are equal. Next, electrons are accelerated through a potential difference V and protons are accelerated by 4V. De Broglie wavelengths are this, the ratio would be, so again the first question that we did in this paper, H upon mv, mv is root 2 mk, root 2 mk is root 2 mqv, that is what you have. Now you need the ratio of lambda e to lambda p, so that would be root of mp into e into vp, vp is 4v, me into e, e and e will cancel into v. So what it becomes 2 times root of mp by me, that is what you can write. So go for option D in this case. Next one, metal surface illuminated by light of given intensity and frequency to cause photoelectric effect. If the intensity is reduced to 1/4, then the maximum kinetic energy it will remain same. It doesn't changes because it only depends on frequency. Go for unchanged. That's a very basic question based on the concept of this photoelectric effect. Two tubes are in series. The radius of A is R and of B is 2R. If water flows through A with speed V, through B will be, so what we will use continuity equation. AV is constant. So if the radius becomes 2R, that means area becomes 4 times. So the velocity will become 1 by 4 to make AV constant. So that would be V by 4. Go for option C. Again a very easy application. Next, water pump rated to 400 watt has an efficiency of 75%. If it is employed to raise water through a height of 40 meter, the volume of water drawn in 10 minutes is going to be. So effective power output, first of all, would be 75%, that is 300 watt. So what this power is, power you write it as work done per unit time, and work done here would be in increasing the potential energy, that would be d by dt of u. U is what you write as mgh. So you can write it as dm by dt, that is the amount of water per unit time, into gh. So that is 300. So this dm by dt, if I solve it, this comes out as 300 upon 10 into 40. So this goes, this is 3 by 4. What we can write it as in standard unit kg per second. So in 10 minutes what it can pump out, 3 by 4 kg per second into 10 minutes is 600 seconds. Second goes, this is 150 into 3, that is 450 kg, which is 450 liters you can say, or you can write 0.45 meter cube, because the density of water is what you can write 1 kg per liter or 10 to the power 3 kg per meter cube. Go for option A here. Next one, ray of light suffers a minimum deviation when incident on equilateral prism of index root 2. The angle of deviation is, okay, so the angle of deviation is root 2 would be, I can write that as standard result, sine of del min plus A, which is 60 by 2 upon sine of A by 2, which is sine of 30 degree. Sine 30 is 1 by 2, so it becomes 1 by root 2 is sine of del min plus 60 by 2. So this is what you can make it out, that means this angle would be sine 45 is 1 by root 2, so this is 45. So del min plus 60 by 2 is 45. So del min plus 60 is 90. So del min comes out as 30 degree in this particular case. The angle of minimum deviation as per this data is 30 degrees. Next one, astronomical telescope has a larger aperture to have high resolution, and to have more light gathering ability. So here it will give it is high resolution, because theta minimum is that what we can say is inverse to d. Greater the d, lesser will be the theta minimum, so more will be the high resolution. That is the limit of resolution that we talk about. Next, solid cylinder rolls down an incline of h. What is the velocity of the cylinder when it reaches the bottom? You directly know, in this case velocity is root 2 gh by beta, no energy loss, and this it is directly we can write, we have done it many times. Beta for solid cylinder is 7 by 5, so it becomes root 10 gh by 7. You can write it as solid cylinder, sorry it is not sphere. I was lucky that the options are not there. Solid cylinder means beta is 3 by 2, so it is root 4 gh by 3. So go for option C. Next, diameter of a flywheel is increased by 1%, increase in its mi would be, so what we say, I is equal to mr proportional to mr square, whatever it would be, disk or ring of, it doesn't matter. So if diameter is increased by 1%, radius will also be increased by 1%. For small changes you can say delta I by I would be twice of delta r by r, so it will increase by 2% for sure. Easy one for you. Next one, change of 8 milliampere in the emitter brings a change of 7.9 in the collector. So what you can have, delta IC upon delta IE, if I write it would be 7.9 upon 8.0, and you write it as alpha. So alpha comes out as, you can write it 79 by 80, you can write it as, this is alpha, so this is alpha is 79 by 80, and if I write beta, beta is delta IB by delta IC, and you know delta IE would be equal to delta IB plus delta IC. So delta IB is 0.1, you can make it out, and it is 7.9. Okay, I have written it wrong, it is reverse, beta is greater than 1, don't do such mistakes. Delta IC by delta IB, it would be 7.9 upon 0.1, that is 79. So this is 79, and what would be alpha now? So alpha, you can solve it, it would be, I can write 0.790 would be 9, 720, you are left with 70, 700 will give you 8, 700, so 64, that is 0.98 something, so 0.99 would be closer, I suppose, so go for option D here. Next, common emitter amplifier, voltage gain 50, input impedance 100, output impedance 200, power gain would be, you know, AV is equal to beta RC by RB, or you can say output upon input resistance. So beta from here comes out as AV is 50, input is 100, output is 200, so 15 200 by 200, so that comes out as 25. So power gain you write as voltage gain into current gain, so that is 25 into 50, that comes out as 1250. Go for option C in this case. Next, the pressure of an ideal gas is increased by keeping the temperature constant. So temperature is constant, so kinetic energy will remain same, because kinetic energy depends only on the temperature. Yeah, I don't know how the NT has given answer increases, that's a standard concept. We know the energy depends only on the what we can say on the temperature, that is 3 by 2 kT typically that you write it, so it is going to remain same. The answer given by NT is surely wrong. The unit of Stephen's constant is, and now if you know or if you don't know, let me try it. What we write, we say the energy radiated, or you can say that is the power radiated, sorry, that you should write the power radiated. H is equal to sigma E, E is unitless, so no meaning for black body, you write it sigma AT to the power 4. So this unit is what? This is meter square, and this is Kelvin to the power 4. So this sigma unit will come out as, you can directly make it out, what, per meter square per Kelvin to the power 4. Go for option C here. Next, 2 point white dots are 1 millimeter apart on a black paper. They are viewed by an eye of pupil diameter 3 mm. What is the maximum distance at which these can be resolved? You take the wavelength of the light to be like this. So what maximum distance? So what we can say, let's say this separation between these two, let's say this would be small l, and let's say this would be, this distance be d, and here is your I. So what we can say, the angle it subtend on I, that theta is equal to L by D, that should be definitely greater than the minimum angle of resolution, so L by D should be greater than that, and this you know is 1.22 lambda by D, where D is the diameter. So this L should be greater than equal to what we can say, L, what do you need, the maximum distance, so D, sorry, we have to take the value of small d, so small d should be less than equal to LD upon 1.22 lambda, that is what we are getting. So in the limiting case, this D max is L, L is 1 mm 10 to the power minus 3, D is 3 mm 3 into 10 to the power minus 3, 1.22, because we take the circular aperture, lambda is 500 into 10 to the power minus 9. So this 9, 6 and 8, so only 10 remains, 10 into 3, okay, 10 into 3, yes, so that is going to remain. This is 10 into 3, this is 5 into 1.22, 5 into 1.22 is 5 2s are 10, this is 11, this is 1, so 6.1, so this is 30 upon 6.1, that is approximately 5, I'll go for 30 by 6 is 5, so this would be 5 meter, I'll go for in this case. Next one, in YDSE experiment, the intensity of light at a point on the screen where the path difference is lambda, that means that it would be a maximize I. The intensity at a point where it is lambda by 4 is, so we can say I at any point is I max, or I should write it, intensity is I max cos square 5 by 2, that is what you write. So this I max is I, so the intensity at this point would be cos square 5 you know is 2 pi by lambda into delta x is lambda by 4 upon 2, So what we are left with 2, it is I cos square pi by 4, that is I into 1 by 2, so it will be I by 2. Go for option B in this particular case. Next, police car going at 22 meter per second chases a motorcyclist. Policeman sounds horn at 176 while both of them move towards a stationary siren of frequency 165. Calculate the speed of the motorcycle if it is given that he doesn't observe any beat. So for him both are same. So what we can say, the siren sound, first of all the police car sound he will hear would be equal to 176 is the original one because it is going away. So I'll write it as v of sound minus v, and this would be v of sound. Here also it would be minus because it is approaching it, and this is equal to 165. Here the observer is at a rest, so it is v of sound, and here it would be v of sound. Vs here I am meaning v of sound. Typically we write it v of source, v of sound, and here it is going towards it, so it would be plus v. So doing this, so 176 into 330 minus v upon 330 minus 22. If I do 330 minus 22 would be 308, and this is 165. So Vs plus v, that is 330 plus v, and this would be Vs, which is 330 I can write. So what we can do, this is 30 times, and this would be, I can make it out 28 times in table of 11 that we have done. Now this is 30, I can write it as 6 times. This way in table of 5, this would be 33. And if I do 28 table, if we do 28 table, 140, and then we get 168. So no, we are not getting it. So try by 4. This is 7, and this is 44. Yes. So now what we are left with, so what we can do, we have this, we have to multiply. Okay, this is again cancelling up. This is 3 and this is 4, so something is good. So multiply it, 6 4s are 24 into 330 minus v, 7 3s are 21 into 330 plus v, that is what we are getting. So what we have, 24v, 21v, take it there, that is 45v, 330 common, it would be 24 minus 21, that is 3. So v is 330 into 3 by 45, so this would be 15, and in the table of 15 LS you get, that is equal to 22. So answer is 22 meter per second. That is the answer that you will get after solving all this. Next, the fundamental frequency of a sonometer wire is n. If the length and diameter of the wire are doubled, keeping the tension same, then the new fundamental frequency is. So that fundamental frequency, that is n is 1, so what we write typically as v by 2l, and v is root t by mu, and mu we write as rho into a upon l. Now the length and diameter are doubled, keeping the tension same, so this is same. What we have done, length is doubled, diameter is doubled, that means area is 4 times, so area, this factor will also get doubled, so it will come down, so it would be 1 by 4. So you can directly go n by 4 because that 2 will come from here, that 2 come from here, so that would be n by 4. You can directly go. Next, for an ideal gas, the specific heat at constant pressure Cp is greater than the specific heat at constant volume Cv. This is because there is a finite work done by the gas on its environment when its temperature is increased while the pressure remains constant. Yes, that is the precise reason. Delta U is same, but here you have to do some work. In Cv case you don't have to do any work. And let me check other options also. Volume constant, this is wrong. Pressure of the gas remains constant, temperature remains constant, no internal energy at constant pressure is more at constant volume, it is also false. So option A is the easiest one for you. Last one. Work energy theorem states that the change in kinetic energy of a particle is equal to the work done on it by the net force. Yes, you can say. This is the option A. You can directly say W net is delta K. That is what you write. So this is the option A that is coming out. So this was today's paper, test number 100. So it was 71st test that I am solved in this 71 days, and really thanks for all the love and appreciation that you have given to me. That has really been a booster for my morale, and never expected such a reaction when I first started. So thanks for liking these videos. Do share them to other aspirants. Now the exams are coming closer. All the best. Thank you.